Listen, Ellen, Copper David is mine. Stay away from him, you shameless boyfriend snatcher, shouted Sherman, her voice trembling with fury. Oh, you think you are special because he bought you a phone? Ellen screamed back, lounging forward and grabbing Sherman's braid. Let me tell you something. I was in his room yesterday too. You are just one of his many girls. Sherman's face twisted in rage as she yanked Ellen's hair. Liar! David said he loves only me. You are the one chasing him around like a lost puppy. Students gathered around the two girls, shouting and cheering, while other corps members rushed in to separate them. The air was filled with gossip and humiliation. But to understand how it got this bad, we must go back to where it all began. David Johnson was a golden child, born after 3 years of waiting and endless prayers. His arrival was celebrated like a festival in the Johnson's household in Port Harcourt. His father, Mr. Johnson, a wealthy businessman, saw him as the heir to carry on the family name. From an early age, David was showered with affection, gifts, and privilege. His sisters adored him, but his mother's attempts to instill discipline were constantly undermined. Leave that boy alone, Mr. Johnson would say each time his wife tried to correct him. Children would always be children. Boys will always be boys. Don't disturb that boy again. By the time David turned 10, he had learned how to use his father's indulgence to his advantage. One afternoon, while playing football in the living room, he accidentally broke an expensive glass vase. His mother's voice echoed through the house. David, how many times have I told you not to play football here? Before she could finish, Mr. Johnson stormed in. Why are you shouting like a mad woman? It's just a vase. I'll buy another one. Are you the one that even bought this one? He threw his wife a sharp warning glance. David watched quietly from behind his father's leg, and for the first time, a slight smile curved his lips. He had learned something powerful. There were no consequences when you were the favorite. At 14, David wanted a brand new PS5. When his mother hesitated, he went straight to his father, putting on his best act of sadness. Daddy, please, all my friends have it. They will laugh at me if I don't. The next day, a driver arrived with the console neatly wrapped in a golden box. David jumped with excitement. Thank you, Dad. You are the best. His mother said nothing. She simply stood by the window, watching him dance around and wondered what kind of man her son was becoming. As he grew older, David began to notice something strange. Whenever Mrs. Johnson traveled, Mr. Johnson often brought different women into the house. Their laughter filled the living room late into the night. One night, young David peeked through the crack of his bedroom door, eyes wide. His father noticed him and chuckled. When you are a man, Mr. Johnson said casually, sipping his drink, you will understand. By the time David Johnson entered the University of Port Harcourt, he had already picked up his father's worst habits, a love for women and attention. On campus, everyone called him the prince. He drove flashy cars, wore designer sneakers, and threw wide parties that became the talk of the school. Girls flocked around him, drawn by his charm, confidence, and the promise of luxury. One night at a campus party, that was where he met Amara, a quiet, reserved girl from the Faculty of Nursing. She wasn't like the other girls, modest, graceful, with an innocence that made her stand out. David noticed her from across the room and smiled. To him, she was a challenge, the kind of girl he wanted, not because of love, but because she looked hard to get. After the party, he offered to walk her back to the hostel. You are different, Amara, he whispered as they stood at her gate. You are special. I can see it in your eyes. Amara blushed, smiling shyly. She tried to resist him at first, but David's persistence broke through her defenses. Within weeks, she was completely in love. She cooked for him, washed his clothes, and skipped lectures just to spend time in his lodge. But soon, she discovered the painful truth. She was just one of many. Her world crashed, and for David, it was just another story, another conquest. A few months later, he graduated from the Uniport with a proud smile and his father's confidence. The ceremony was grand, colorful tents, loud music, and proud parents taking pictures. For David, it felt like a fresh start. a chance to show the world who he was becoming. Next on his journey, NYSC, the National Youth Service Corps, 1 year of serving the country. At home, preparation were in full swing, bags packed, uniform ironed, and well-wishers dropping by. That night, before his departure, his mother, Madam Ngozi Johnson, sat him down in the living room. Her eyes were filled with love, but her tone carried quiet warning. "My son," she began softly, "we thank God for seeing you through the university. It hasn't been an easy journey, but His grace has been sufficient. As you go now to serve your father's land, remember who you are. Represent this family well. You'll meet all kinds of people out there. Some will try to lead you astray. Stand firm, my son. Make us proud." David smiled gently, touched by her words. "Yes, mommy, I will do my best." Just then, Chief Johnson strode into the room, his presence commanding as always. He chuckled, shaking his head. "Ngozi, what are you preaching again?" he teased, his deep voice carrying both pride and irritation. "Are you saying our son is not well trained?" My son has my blood, a man of honor. He doesn't need all these lectures." Ngozi frowned but remained calm. "It's not about doubting his character," she replied quietly. "It's about reminding him of discipline and integrity. The world out there is not like home." Chief Johnson waved her off with a dismissive laugh. "You worry too much. David knows how to handle himself. Don't you, my boy?" Caught between his parents, David nodded awkwardly. "Yes, Dad." His father clapped him hard on the back, laughing. "Go, enjoy your service here, and make good connections. That's what matters." David smiled, proud and eager. His mother only sighed, watching silently as her son walked away to park. Something deep inside her whispered that the world was about to teach David what home could never. The next morning, David Johnson set out for his NYC orientation camp in Rivers State. After 3 exhausting weeks of drill, marching, and early morning parades, he finally received his posting letter. He had been assigned to Queen Amina Girls College, a prestigious all-girls secondary school in the heart of Port Harcourt, to serve as a mathematics teacher. On his first day, the principal, a stern but warm woman named Mrs. Obele, introduced him to the students during morning assembly. "SS2 and SS3 girls," she said in her firm voice, "this is Mr. David Johnson, your new mathematics teacher. I expect you to give him your full respect and attention." The girls whispered among themselves, exchanging giggles. David stood tall in his clean khaki uniform, well dressed, confident and smiling politely, and the girls couldn't help but stare. During his first class, David noticed a small group of girls sitting at the back, whispering and giggling. One of them, Tenny, was especially bold. She often stayed behind after class, pretending to ask questions that had nothing to do with mathematics. "Sir, do you have a girlfriend?" she asked one afternoon, eyes sparkling with mischief. David smiled slightly. "Focus on your studies, that's what's important." But his tone was playful, encouraging her attention without realizing it. Over time, he learned which of the girls were most vulnerable, the ones who blushed easily when he complimented them, or stayed longer after class. He began to tease them, offer small gifts, and give them extra attention during lessons. Within a few weeks, some of the girls started lingering around after school hours. They would jiggle at his jokes, offer to carry his book, or compliment his outfit. Then the visits began. One by one, they found reason to stop by his copper's lodge after class. Some brought snacks, others offered to help tidy his room. After each time, David told himself it was harmless. After all, they were the ones coming to him. But with every visit, the line between teacher and student blurred further. One humid evening, Tenny, the boldest of them all, knocked on his door. "Sir, I need help with my assignment," she said sweetly. David let her in. They talked for a while, but soon the conversation drifted away from academics. Tenny looked at the half-eaten plate of beans on his table and wrinkled her nose. "Copper David, you are too fine to be eating this kind of food," she teased. "Let me cook you something better, something you will never forget." Before David could object, she had already tied a scarf and rolled up her sleeves. For the next hours, she moved gracefully around the room, cooking a pot of delicious jollof rice. The aroma filled the air, mixing with laughter and easy conversation. The following day, another student, Chioma, found her way to his lodge. Unlike Tenny, Chioma was quiet. Her charm lay in her shy smile and gentle demeanor. Sir, your room is so scattered, she said, laughing softly. Let me help you arrange it. Before he could answer, she was already folding his clothes and sweeping the floor. You shouldn't live like this, she said, tucking in his bed sheets neatly. Let me keep things in order for you. Soon, it became a routine. After school hours, girls would take turns sneaking into his lodge, some to bring food, some to help clean, and some with intentions far beyond shores. To them, Copper David was a prize. To him, it was attention he had grown addicted to. One evening, long after most of the staff had left the premises, Tenny stayed behind again. She sat close to David, their hands brushing occasionally as they talked. You know, sir, she said, her voice low and playful. Sir, you know you are the girl's favorite teacher, right? David chuckled lightly. I hope it's for the right reasons. It is, but some of us seniors don't mind keeping your room clean. And maybe your heart warm too. David froze for a second, unsure whether to laugh or scold her. Before he could decide, Tenny reached out and touched his hand. Then she kissed him. The room went silent. For a brief dangerous moment, David didn't pull away. His mind screamed no, but his body refused to move. He knew it was wrong, but something in him wanted it anyway. And that single moment would be the beginning of everything that went wrong. What started as harmless attention has just crossed the line. But this is the only beginning, because in part 2, Copper David's secrets won't stay hidden for long. Someone saw everything, and when the truth comes out, his entire world will fall apart. Subscribe now so you don't miss part 2, the scandal that ended his service here. Bye for now.